Hello fellow tankers, this is Dauntless, and today I'm going to be playing a game yet again in my WZ-120, the Tier 9 Chinese medium tank. Now the first thing you'll notice that I did downgrade my gun from the 130mm down to the 90mm. This is because I was getting really sick of being trolled by RNG constantly and getting those games like this where I have to make long range shots and I was just missing and getting really inconsistent damage where, you know, one game I'd get 5,000 damage, the next game I'd get 1,000 damage, and it was making my marks fluctuate so much to the point where I'm like, I need consistency, and I mounted the 90. Now this thing really plays like a T54 if you have the 90mm mounted on it. Not quite as good because the mobility and the rate of fire isn't that good, but if you do load gold in it, it does make it a competitive gun at tier 10. The penetration on the standard rounds are kind of low, and so I wouldn't recommend playing this gun unless you are willing to pay that extra price for the APCR rounds. It actually is superior in my opinion because of the APCR rounds to the Type 50 or the T54, because I really don't like heat in my gun tanks. Ironic, right? Because most Chinese tanks shoot heat. Anyway, looking at the game here, we're going to be playing on Malinovka, the noob map. I really don't like this map very much unless I'm in a light tank, and I load in and I realize that there are no light tanks, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. It's kind of unfortunate because we have so many good players on our team compared to their team that one good light tank pushing up could get a lot of their tanks killed very quickly and allow us to get some damage. You know, our team is actually very competent. A lot of tank destroyers, a lot of heavy guns, while their team is really lacking in that area. You know, they have some JPEGs that are probably going to just sit on the cap the entire time, and, you know, some lightly armored tanks. We really don't have that many heavily armored tanks either. You know, 113 is okay-ish, but when you load into this, you'll realize that, okay, we have the superior team. We're probably going to win, but how? We have nothing to really brawl on the hill except for maybe the E75 and the VK, but, you know, they have Arty and it's going to be risky. And then you take the hill and then what? You push down and open yourself up to being shot by everything that's going to be camping down here. This is why this map kind of sucks. There's really no safe way to push. The really only good way is to sit here and then find an opportunity and push across. But again, that's also risky. And so when I loaded in here, I'm thinking, how am I going to get the most damage out of this game? And again, it is the lack of light tanks in this game that made me play the way I'm going to play. Just a forewarning, I get very, very little damage in this game. I think I only get like 1,100 damage or something like that. Maybe it was a little bit more. But it's entertaining, I guess. It was entertaining for me. Hopefully it'll be entertaining for you. But I realize that I need to play my tank like a light tank because there are no light tanks. But this tank doesn't have amazing camouflage like, you know, a light tank would, and so that really leaves me to push only up to here. Normally if I was in a light tank, I'd at least push up to this bush here, but I can't do that. So I take the best spot I can. Again, I'm running coated optics. I have my recon skill and my situational awareness maxed out, meaning my view range is well over the maximum render or the spotting distance of 455, allowing me, or maybe is it 445? Correct me if I'm wrong. But this tank has decent camouflage. I have all my camouflage maxed out on this tank as well in terms of crew skills. I'm running my vertical stabilizers, and I'm also running a gun rammer. And it's very important here that I do not fire a shot, because if I do, I'm going to get lit by that T54 most likely, or that 140 will easily spot me from here, and I'm being really patient. Now, we do have good players on our team, but you'll notice that most of them are still sitting on the cap. And this is fine for me because anything I lit will be able to be, you know, killed by them, just adding on to that spotting damage. Now, for those of you that don't really know how marks of excellence work, you need to be able to have an average damage in your last 100 battles that is over 95% of other players, meaning you have to be in the top 5% in order to get your third mark of excellence. Very, very hard to do, especially in a tank like this, because not a lot of people use it, and the people that do use it are usually people that actually like it, so they're good players. I find that tanks like maybe, you know, the IS-3 would be easier to 3-mark just because there are so many bad players that play it, making the average damage of that tank go down. Now, it's not that easy to get consistently in the top 5% of damage for 100 games. I mean, some of the games that you're going to have are going to be in the 80 percentile. Some are going to be 0 damage games, and some might be awesome, 6,000, 7,000 damage games that puts you up in the top, 0.001%. And the average of all of that needs to land you up in the top 5. I've never 3-marked a tier 9 before until this one, so I was actually really proud of my achievement. And again, if you don't know anything about marks, assist damage counts towards your mark. It actually works the exact same way as damage. So if you get if you need 3,000 average to 3-mark your tier 9 tank, and you get 2,000 normal damage and 1,000 spotting damage, it's exactly the same as if you were to get 3,000 normal damage. This means that there is a very, there's an agenda, there's initiative for me to go out and actually get spots, because right now I have 5,700 spotting damage, which is the equivalent of having a 5,700 damage game, which is something that is very hard to do in this vehicle. The last replay I showed, I only got 5,100 damage, and it took 15 minutes to do so. I got 5,700 damage within like the first 3 minutes of this game, which is pretty awesome. Our team is still completely alive, their team is still quite healthy as well, and it's kind of turned into a stalemate. I really have no reason to move here because the hill is completely taken. The middle is, a couple tanks are sitting there. There's really nowhere that the enemy is going to push me where my team really needs me. And again, I'm not going to go up on the hill and fight with no gun depression and try to peek over and get myself killed. This T-54 could theoretically light me if he pushed around and I was to move at all. So it is in my best interest just to sit still. There are some tanks left on the cap, and there are tanks that are sitting over here in this F7 area, this JPEG. Probably this E1 is also sitting there, and I'm just going to chill here, trying to get as much assist as possible because I want my marks to go up. Now, one thing that I think a lot of people don't know about marks of excellence is the fact that tracking damage also counts. And so if you're able to put a nice track shot into an enemy, and then let's say I track this T-54 and then the Skoda goes and finishes it off, I would get 609 damage added onto my assist, which would go towards my marks. Now here's the tricky part though. When you're going for your marks of excellence, you can only count one or the other. You actually can't use all of your assist damage. So let's say I get 1,000 tracking damage here. Let's say I tracked that leopard and he burned and died, and I was able to get 1,000 assists there. Now let's say that I also have my 5,000 assist damage from spotting. The game would automatically calculate the higher percentile, or the higher damage. So it would automatically choose my spotting damage over my assist and only count that for my mark. Kind of sucky. I didn't know that for the longest time, so I was going for both. But in that situation where, let's say you have 3,000 spotting already and you're brawling, don't waste your time going for a track shot if you know it's not going to damage the enemy. Go for that damage shot because it won't count as anything. So things are kind of unfolding a little bit weirder than I thought they would. I thought we would have the hill for sure, but it looks like our guys got a little bit too aggressive and they pushed over and they opened themselves up to being just completely massacred. Now, the rest of our team are pretty much all tank destroyers, and they're all sitting on our base. Our Artie doesn't seem too thrilled about the fact that our team is losing so hard, and at this point I'm getting a little bit antsy, like, okay, I should probably help my team out, but if I move and get lit here, the JPEG is going to put one in me, the STRV is going to shoot me, Artie might shoot me, and it's in my best interest, again, not to move. I put myself here thinking I'd sit here for the first couple of minutes and get some spots, but it just kept working out to where it was very convenient for me to sit here. You'll notice that most of our team members are sitting quite far back, while I'm the really only one up here able to get these spots. Those guys would not be lit if it wasn't for me. And being up here works for me because I'm getting assist damage up the wazoo here, and our guys are happy because they're able to get some shots in. Now this JPEG is on my left, and I really don't want to get lit right now, because if I get lit, I'm at the mercy of the Skoda and the JPEG, because there's really nowhere I can run at this point. That guy will most likely put a shot into me, and it could be very dangerous. Now our team would be completely blind to that JPEG if it wasn't for me lighting him. I'm most likely. I guess the 704 might be able to spot him there, but who knows. Now things are getting a little bit antsy. I'm getting quite worried. If you look at the mini-map, that guy's only like 100 meters away from me, and I'm in a medium tank. If I was in a light tank, I wouldn't worry, But, you know, that's a tier 9 medium tank as well, and I'm assuming he has at least 400 plus view range, and being 100 meters away from me, he's literally within yards of spotting me. He could move up maybe another, 10 yards, or, 10 meters, and I would get lit. And I was really sweating bullets there, like, oh my gosh, he's going to light me. But fortunately, he didn't light me, and I am up to 10,000 assist damage now. Oh no, now the tortoise is moving up too. Now I'm getting really worried because these guys could easily just push over and spot me. Literally, they would just have to move a little bit closer and I'd get lit so fast. But I'm just holding my breath here, really just praying that they don't light me, and I'm requesting fire on this tortoise. Now, unfortunately, this tortoise is in kind of a good location. He's in this little depression, and none of our guys have shots on him. Some guys do. Apparently, they're not the best shots, or they're being trolled by RNG. There we go. One shot in. Kind of a low roll. Didn't finish him off there. And I want him dead. As long as the tortoise is dead, I'm going to be able to push up and be more aggressive. Now, there's 6 minutes left on the clock, and I'm realizing, okay, our team is being pushed very, very hard, and we're probably going to lose this. If anything, we're going to just draw this out because there's no way that we can get to their base and kill their arty if we're not able to clean these guys up. Again, me being here is very, very effective because that JPEG is completely lit and has no idea what's lighting him. Arty, I think, put a nice shot. Maybe that was a 704 that put a nice shot and hit that JPEG. Again, now my spotting damage is almost up to 13,000. I play a lot of light tanks, guys, but this is actually the highest spotting game I've ever had in my World of Tanks career, and that's pretty much the main reason why I wanted to show this replay. I know it's rather excuse me, it's rather boring, just because there's really no action other than me just sitting here. And I stated in the last video, if you guys watched it, that it's better to sit in one spot in a bush and just spot for your team than to get yourself killed early on, because at least you have some impact. Here is the golden example. I've literally just sat here the entire game. I haven't done anything except for turn my tank slightly to the left, literally, in the 10 minutes I've been playing, and I've racked myself up almost 13,000 damage. Now, I did say something there. I asked Arty if he could hit that tortoise. He's completely lit. He's not moving. There's no reason why the Arty wouldn't take that shot unless he just doesn't want to, waste his shot on a 51 HP tortoise. But he's really the only threat to me right now because he can light me. And again, I'm pinned down. If I move at all, he's going to light me. I really want to finish him off so bad, but I can't. As you know, tanks lose probably about 75% of their camouflage value. Maybe not that much. Maybe about 50% of their camouflage value if they move. If you turn your tank even 1 inch to the left or to the right or forward, your camouflage value tanks. And being how close that tortoise is, if I just move even in the slightest, he will light me. And I'm really hoping Arty will finish him off here, and nice shot on his part, he's able to finish him off. Now 4 minutes on the clock. I'm really thinking, okay, I should probably push, but I gotta be careful. I don't know where that STRV is, I don't know where that Skoda is, I don't want to be caught out in the open and just get myself completely destroyed. I was thinking I'd be aggressive, but those guys up on the hill have not been lit at all. And if I get myself into a position where our team, because they're not being aggressive, can't help me, I will just probably evaporate in a matter of seconds. I really want a little bit more intel before I push forward. And the Kranvagen, or I still don't know how that thing is pronounced, is full life. He is a good player, and there's 3.5 minutes left. Unless our team does something completely drastic, we're going to draw this. I don't really think that they have a chance of winning, but I really don't think that we do either. And when I had this moment where I realized that we're not going to win this, I decide that it's in my best interest not to move yet. Because with 3 minutes on the clock, they're going to be pressured to make their move too. And if they make a move towards us, I'm going to be the one that lights them, and I'm going to be the one that gets that extra assist damage. Every little bit counts. I'm very, very happy that I already have 13,000 assist damage. That's amazing for me. It's going to do wonders for my marks. I think it made it go up like 2% or something crazy like that. It was at like 92 and it pushed it up to like 94. And then I had a couple good games afterwards and I actually finally got my mark. Woohoo. Alright, getting down to the wire. Most people, when they hear that 2-minute buzzer, they will be aggressive and they'll start pushing because they're like, well, screw it, we're not going to win. Let's at least get some damage. Alright, so this is where I make my move. I feel like it's safe enough to push forward. I can't spot through this bush unless I move forward. And I realized that the Skoda or the TV, or I'm sorry, yeah, the Skoda or the STRV must be sitting along this ridgeline somewhere, and I was right. But I was not able to spot him just because there was a bush between us. Now, if I fire here, I will get myself lit, and there's a good chance that JPEG could hit me, and so really, really tempting to shoot him here, but I don't. I'm just going to keep him in my view range and hope that Artie or something will be able to splash him or kill him. And then the STRV gets lit. Now, I was just about to shoot at that Skoda because he's just to that point in my view range where he wouldn't be able to spot me, but now I don't. And again, this is where I'd want to shoot this STRV too, but I'm thinking survivability. That Skoda is within an area of being able to clip me, and I don't want to take 3 shots from him and then have this guy turn around and shoot me and I would be dead. The Kranwagen might be able to shoot me from behind. It just would not be a good situation. Alright, 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. I see the STRV is down in a hole. Skoda is nowhere to be seen. This is my time to shine. I'm thinking at this point, it doesn't matter if I die or not. I've already milked as much damage as possible, 13,500 assist damage, and there's no way that this guy can kill me fast enough in the minute that he has left, and I want to try to get some damage. And it looks like our guys are thinking the same thing. They're all pushing forward. Again, there's no chance that we're going to win this. Now I creep around here, and I go for a track shot because I want to keep him in place. No idea why that didn't track him. I guess maybe my alpha damage wasn't high enough. And this thing is incredibly hard to penetrate. 50 seconds, I'm feeling a lot of pressure here, and this guy is just coming in. I realize that I have to track him if I want to kill him, and JPEG comes over. I'm about to crap my pants, and our guy finishes him off, thankfully. Now, I'm able to get the track shot there finally, after 3 attempts, and that guy releases his hydraulics, and he's trying to turn around, which I am not going to let him at this point. Artie hits me. Fortunately, it tracks him at the same time, and prevents him from getting around me. If he had been untracked, that would have been the death of me. 14 seconds left. Am I gonna get the kill? Yeah, I definitely get it. Alright, so like I said, I got 1,000 damage that game, but I also was able to rack up almost 14,000 assists, putting my net up to about 15,000 damage towards my marks of excellence, which in my opinion is amazing. Not to toot my own horn or anything like that, but that's the highest potential game I've had towards marks in my life, and again, really boring, but I felt like it was a shame not to show it off. Anyway, guys, hopefully you found this game entertaining or helpful. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a like down below, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more content like this in the future. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.